Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. And this is Victory Monday. So I'm going to start out like I did last season. And I'm going to sing the Bear song, the touchdown song, which is god-awful. And then each week, if we win, I'm going to tweak it. So, and then I'm going to give you a little information about the song. It's kind of interesting. So let's just sing it once, right? Because this was a good victory. So, a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Make every play clear the way to victory. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Put up a fight with so much fearless knee. You'll never forget the way you thrilled the nation with your T formation. Bear down, Chicago Bears. Let them know why you were wearing the crown. We hope you're the pride and joy of Illinois. So bear down, Chicago Bears. Actually, I kind of tweaked it a little bit myself there. It's a really, I think, bad song, and nobody ever knows the words to it by heart. You just don't. So how is everybody today? I said it's Victory Monday. Right on. Bears won. So they won 24-14. But first, let's just go over the song. I thought this is very interesting. The song was released in 1941 by a composer named Al Hoffman. But when he released it, he put it under another name, Jerry Downs. And the song was really written on a fluke. His friend dared him to write a football song. He says, "Prove to me that you're the composer. You're a genius when it comes to writing songs." And his friend said, "If you can write a football song for another team other than New York," because that's where he lived, he's like, "We'll see what happens." So he did write the song, and he ended up selling it to the Chicago Bears. Isn't that hilarious? So it's 1941. That's when they started singing that terrible song, because I don't like it, but whatever. So Bears won. They're now 2-2. Everybody's in a real good mood today. And let's all face it, anybody who watched that game yesterday knew by the third offensive play that Nagy could not have been calling those plays. I looked at my son, I said, "Laser's calling the plays," and he goes, "I think you're right." And it was confirmed after the game that Bill Lazor did call the plays. Apparently, Nagy said he drew out the game and the game plan, and Lazor did the call, made the plays. But I don't care. It worked. It was quite obvious, and I liked how he mixed everything up. He came out running. I mean, that was awesome. Montgomery was awesome yesterday. And he came out running, and he was mixing up the plays. He was doing stuff for field strengths, and they just looked a lot better. I know, now this is the only other thing we got to remember, is that we played Detroit, not Cleveland. Although Cleveland has been struggling a little bit. They barely won yesterday. And Detroit, I will give them. They are better than their record. I know they're 0-4, but they have a new coach. They have a lot of new players. But, Goff looked good. His passing was a lot higher than ours was. But the problem was they couldn't score when they needed to. So we're going to talk about that, but yeah, baby. So, all right, here's some stats. So yesterday's game, Fields threw for 209 yards, and we rushed for 188 yards. And number 32, David Montgomery, had 106 of those yards until he went out in the middle of the fourth quarter with a bad knee, which they're saying today he did not tear his ACL, thank God. And so they're hoping it's only going to be a couple weeks. It'll be bad, because I hope he's back, because he is looking good this year, and particularly looked really good yesterday. And I loved it. I really did. Mr. Mooney, my favorite receiver, number 11, had 125 yards. And Allen Robinson, number 12, had 63. Both passing yards to them. And I told you, Mr. Mooney, Allen Robinson technically is considered our number one wide receiver. But in my opinion, by the end of the year, Mooney is going to be it because, wow, we're going to talk about that in a minute. The time of possession, which I say is very important, was very close. It was 3 minutes apart. Detroit had us by 3 minutes, so it was equal. And the defense, man. The defense had another 4 sacks. They have a total of 15 sacks so far this year. They had 4 yesterday. Quinn had one, 94. Mack had one. He's number 52. Smith is number 58. And Gibson, number 99, is our second-year player. He's a rookie from last year, and they were just really, really good. I mean, really good. And then the Bears. Excuse me here. I'm trying to get my notes, and it's not cooperating. What the hell? God. Computers, you know what I mean? So we had 2 turnovers. The Bears defense caused 2 turnovers. We gave up one on that tip pass when Fields threw it. It was tipped, and it was interception. But it ended up not hurting us, so it didn't matter. Penalties. Not good. And you know how I feel about those penalties. They had 7 penalties for 61 yards, and I think all but one really hurt us every time we got it. It stopped drives, or what it really did was on the defense is where most of the penalties were yesterday. A couple times we had them stopped at 4th down, and we gave them a 1st down on penalties. Oh, you know how I hate those. And the Bears cannot afford it. They got lucky, and they got away with it yesterday. But I'm telling you, they cannot be doing that. It's not going to do them any good. They have got to cut down on those penalties because it really hurt us many times yesterday. It was pissing me off. And it was mostly on the defense, I will say that. The Bears O-line, the Bears offense, first we're going to talk about that. The Bears offense, on the very first drive, we came out and we lost the coin toss, so they deferred to the second half. So we started the game, and the Bears went right down the field. Their total offense for that first possession of the game was 75 yards. That was more than they had all last week. So, big improvement, right? And they went right down, and they scored a touchdown, as we know. And it was awesome. And it was just like, oh, my God. The offensive line looked so much better. They gave up 1 sack yesterday opposed to 9 last week. And Detroit was in their faces. They were pushing that line back. But those guys just held their own, and I was very happy to see that. Another good thing that happened yesterday, and I said to you on Friday, that the Bears, for their own good, every time they touch that ball, they need to either get a field goal, 3 points, or a touchdown, 7 points. And only 3 times yesterday they did not. Only 3 times did they go 3 and out. So all the other times they either scored or they went down the field for a while. And then the one in the fourth quarter was when he went down the field and the ball was tipped and it was intercepted. So that was stopped. But the O-line, I got to tell you, we got to give them credit because you know what? We've been on their asses since the beginning of the season. So they showed up big yesterday, so hats off to the offensive line. But they only got to get better and better and better because next week is a tougher team. But the run game looked fantastic. And again, David looked great until he got hurt and had to go out. And Mr. Mooney, number 11, our receiver, oh my God. Fields had some amazing throws yesterday where he was throwing in between 2 defensive players, and here's Mooney in the middle, and he just, oh my God. When he did that a couple times, and I looked at my son and I said, we've got a quarterback. Because he made several awesome throws to Mooney, who I love, and I've told you by the end of the season he's going to be the number 1 receiver over as I said a few minutes ago, over Robinson. And Robinson had some great catches, obviously, because he had some yards. So it was nice to see Robinson get back in there. Kind of wished we could have used the tight ends for catching a little bit more, but what I understand is, and it's hard to see on TV, but they were using and I mentioned this last week, they were using our tight ends as blockers for the run game. Not so much the pass game, but the run game to help our David Montgomery get bigger holes. So the tight ends were out there, but they weren't doing the catching too much. It was just offensively, they were just looked so much different. And it was amazing. Fields, I got to give that kid a lot of credit. He could have come out and looked like deer in headlights after last week. I mean, he was sacked 9 times. And we had 47 yards total offense. I mean, we were the laughing stock last week, okay? But Fields, it just seems like he just goes, throws it off his shoulders. He looked like he hadn't played the week before. He wasn't fazed at all by that. So I was very impressed. Very, very good young man's got a good head on his shoulders. So let's hope it continues. And Nagy doesn't screw him up. And Nagy continues to let Bill Lazor call the plays, because now this is the 3rd time Nagy's pretty much removed himself from that, unless somebody higher up said, nope, no more. You know, Nagy didn't talk about it all week. He didn't talk about it before the game at all. He only confirmed it after the game in the press conference when they were asked. You know, it was quite obvious. Anybody who's been watching the Bears and anybody that knows anything about football, you knew he was not calling those plays because they were completely different out there yesterday. So I'd like to see him continue to let Lazor call the plays, because let's face it, that's his job. He's the offensive coordinator. Hello, Nagy. I did hear a commentator before the game on Saturday. It was some football show, and he was making fun of Nagy and, not being able to call any plays. And then this is something I've been saying to my son since Nagy came here. And this guy started making fun of him. He goes, and he's a bald man, and he wears a visor. What a clown. And I always say that. Why would he wear a visor if he was bald? You'd think he'd wear a regular hat. To me, he looks so stupid. And when this guy was making fun of him on national TV, I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what I say too. But anyways, the Bears defense, I got to tell you, our defensive line and our linebackers look great. I mean, they had the 4 sacks. Mack and Quinn were constantly in Goff's face. Even though he had a lot of yards. He had 258 yards of passing. We only had 209. But I'll tell you why they didn't score. But he did have a lot more yards. So he did get passes off, but the Bears were they never let up all game. And our defense looked so much better this week, but they didn't get tired. Right? They weren't on the field for 39 minutes of the game like they were last week. I think it was, because I said it was even, so I think it was, because we were only 3 years, it was 30 minutes, or 31 minutes, and that they were on the field. Not all at once, obviously, but, so the D looks really good. Our biggest problem, as I said last week, and it still concerns me a lot, because there was some passes he was making that our defensive players were nowhere to be found, or if they were, they weren't making any attempt. The only one that looks good out there is number 33, Jalen Johnson, and he can't be everywhere. So it really shows how much we miss Fuller this year, because him and Jalen Johnson last year were so good. So our backfield is really a problem, and I think it's going to be a big problem in Las Vegas next week when we play the Raiders. Because Goff, again, I said, had 258 yards. And the reason they didn't score more was because our defense stopped them. They stopped them, oh my gosh, there was 4 times that they were within 5 yards of the goal of scoring a touchdown. So it's 4 goal-to-goals they call, and the Bears stopped them all 4 times, and they didn't let them score. I mean, that was amazing. So that was pretty awesome. So that shows you why. That tells you why they didn't score as much, even though he had 258 passing yards. And they had 97 rushing yards, so they didn't get 100 yards. But because the Bears, like I said again, defensive line, linebackers really doing the job. The problem on our defense, and it's a big problem, is the backfield. Our safeties and cornerbacks suck, and I don't know how they're going to rectify this problem. Should never have let Fuller go. I'm just saying. What was kind of sucked, the thing is we lost two really important players. We lost 96, Akeem Hicks, who was one of my favorites. He's on the defensive line. I'm sorry. We lost him after the first play. He went out with a groin and never came back. And then, the fourth quarter, we lost our running back, David Montgomery. There's a few other people banged up, but it doesn't look like it's going to be anything bad. But I'm just so glad that David Montgomery, it is not a ACL, because that would have been really, really bad. But there was somebody that I like, and so David went down, and our kick returner, when he went down, he came in, number 24, Herbert is his last name, and he's been our kick returner, and he's been doing a great job. And then he got the ball a couple times late in the game, and he had some runs. So I think they may start him next week, because the other guy, number 8, Williams, who has been backing up David Montgomery, he has a quad problem, but I bet he plays. But I'm guessing number 24 is going to start at running back next week. So we'll see what happens there. But it was just a fantastic game. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get over to my other screen, and this stupid thing is not letting me. It was just a fantastic game, and I don't even, I was so pumped when we came out and went down and scored right away. It was just like, oh my God. And the Bears, like I said, they scored every quarter except for the last quarter, but that's all right. We can deal with that, right? And but we'll have to see what happens, because the Raiders are good. And we'll see what the Raiders do tonight, because they're playing tonight and on Sunday. So the Bears are coming to Vegas, baby, next week. And my son and I are going. Yeah. We got really lucky. My son's father-in-law, love the guy, John. Thank you, John. Has season tickets, and he gave Michael and I the season tickets. He gave them to us. We didn't have to pay for them. And so we're going. It's a 1:20 game here. It's 3:20 in Chicago. Do have to go through a lot. I had to sign up this week, show my vaccination card, and my son, he's only got one vaccination. He's still got to get a second one. We finally talked him into doing it, and that's all I'm going to say, but he did it. And so it's really weird, though, because if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask at all. And I had to sign up on this app, so I go in one door, and my son, because he's only partially vaccinated, has to go in another door. And apparently he has to wear a mask the whole time. Yeah, we'll see about that. So we're going to do that. And it's a brand new stadium, Raiders Stadium. It's called Allegiant Stadium. I've never been in it. It's 2 years old. And so that's going to be cool. But I plan on losing my voice at that game. So next, I'll be on Friday to talk about the game. And then the following Monday, a week from today, I probably won't have a voice. But we'll see. So it was a good day. A lot of good stuff happened. I just hope that the Bears can move forward on it and to continue to get better and better. And, when Dalton, our other quarterback, is healthy, that's what's going to be real interesting to see if he's going to put Dalton back in or he's going to put Fields back in. I don't think Dalton's going to be able to go this week, so we'll probably get to see Fields again. And we'll see how he does under this defense. Because, like I said, better team. I'm going to watch him tonight, because I haven't watched a full Raiders game this season, because after the Bears are done, I'm flipping around looking at all, because I have the NFL channel and our NFL package, and I go around and look at all the different teams to see what's going on. Because I like to do as this by the middle of the season, I start doing making parlay bets at the casino, and I want to see what the teams look like, see if I can make some cash, barber. Yeah, I need cash. I haven't found a sugar daddy yet, so I got to make some money somehow. I mean, I would be a perfect person to hang out with or date. I I'm a widow. I have no desire to get married again. I just want to hang out. I watch football. This is going to be a shock to a few people because I hadn't drank beer for a long time, but I am now. And I drink beer, and I love music. I love rock and roll. What guy wouldn't like that? And, I'm friends with benefits. Yeah, baby. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about this on the show. All right. It was a great day. A lot of good things happened yesterday. There was some negatives. Like I said, the secondary sucks. Penalties were too high. And we gotta just keep riding off of this win because it's huge. So hopefully the momentum takes us forward, and we get better each week, and especially with Fields. And if we could get this offensive line to stay consistent like they were yesterday and not be hurt, oh man, I'm telling you what, because it's huge. You need an offensive line, and we have not had one for years. So that's why all our quarterbacks couldn't do what they needed to do. Crybaby Cutler. He's got the most sacks in a quarterback during the Bears game. Many years ago, Bears fans who watch Bears games all the time remember this one. It was in New York, and he was sacked 10 times. The next game, he looked like a deer in headlights. His head was spinning, and I can't really blame him, but you can imagine he was crying his eyes out after that game because Cutler was a big old baby. I did not like him. He's a tool and a baby. That's all I'm saying. Okay. All right, my awesome watchers. So go Bears, and I'll see you Friday. We're going to go over the Raiders-Bears game. That, again, I will be attending, so I'll be able to give you firsthand. Although I won't be able to take notes, but that's okay. And as always, be kind. Be kind to one another. And something came up yesterday, and I thought about it. Why are we mean to people? Why can't we stop hate and mean? Why can't we? What happened? I have a pretty good idea, but I'm not going there. So let's just pull it together because we got to get this country back and run in the proper way because it's not there and it's not going to be there for a while. So, let's stick together, smile at somebody, help somebody out if they need it. Just respect people. Treat people like you want to be treated. And maybe we could get this thing back on track in our United States because we need to. Because there are a lot of good people out there. I see them. And then there's a lot of not so nice people out there. So let's be the nice people, right? And just hang in together and stop hate and start kindness again. Kindness from your heart. Okay? That's all I'm asking. And a Bears win every Sunday. All right. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you watching me. So I will see you Friday on Let's Talk Chicago Bears. And, as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. And I'll see you Friday. Oh, bye-bye.